Hello and welcome to Cinema Wellman. I am your host, David. And first of all, I'd like to thank God for sitting in for me last week. That episode was great fun other than having to watch those movies. And he has already asked if he could return next season for another episode. And, you know, he usually gets his way. There's no God today. So we're going to have to break down the best and worst of April without him. The good news is that God took the brunt of the bombs for the month in his episode, which means I only have one movie to gripe about before highlighting a handful that are definitely worth your time. 6 of the 49 movies we screened during the month of April were given the bomb, but 5 of them comprise the God's Not Dead series, which we thankfully will not be revisiting, so there's not much to complain about. I will complain anyway. If you're a regular here at Cinema Wellman, you've heard me prattle on and on about casts in movies. The directors who always seem to assemble the perfect cast and how important casting and story is in the overall production. Hard to overcome bad writing or a bad cast, both of which are proven by The Pride and the Passion from 1957. The rating is approved. 132 minutes, IMDb 5.7, directed by Stanley Kramer. IMDb, during the Napoleonic Wars, a British captain is sent to Spain to help prevent the French from stealing a powerful cannon. The 3 stars of this overly long movie that seemed to last as long as the Napoleonic Wars themselves are no doubt Hollywood royalty. Sophia Loren, Cary Grant, and Frank Sinatra are a solid cast on paper. But as the old joke goes, too bad the movie wasn't made on paper. All 3 seemed terribly disinterested in the proceedings, and there was zero chemistry in a story that was supposed to feature a love triangle along with all the canon stuff. I went back and forth trying to decide which was worse, Sinatra's Spanish accent, touch of Hoboken, or his hairpiece. This movie was so long that I did a little research during one of the scenes when they were moving the big cannon around, which happened quite frequently. It turns out the story behind this production was way more interesting than the final product. Interesting that there wasn't any on-screen chemistry between Cary Grant and Sophia Loren, since he was obsessed with her and they had an affair on set. Cary Grant's wife at the time, Betsy Drake, found out about the affair and angrily left Spain. How'd she leave, Chet? She got on the Andrea Doria, which ended up being, it was a luxury liner that ended up being rammed and sunk by the Stockholm, which was another luxury liner. So the SS Andrea Doria, look it up if unfamiliar, poor Betsy. Can you imagine that? Your husband cheats on you, you leave, you get on a ship, the ship gets rammed, sunk, loss of life. Terrible. Sinatra and his wife at the time, Ava Gardner, were having marital problems, and the only reason he took this film was to be near her while she was shooting The Sun Also Rises in Europe. When Sinatra realized there wasn't going to be a reconciliation, he pretty much left. He left the production and told director Stanley Kramer to sue him. You want to keep me here? Sue me. Sinatra did leave, and some scenes were later shot in Hollywood to appease him. All of that off-screen drama added up to a total lack of on-screen drama. These Hollywood legends looked as bored making this movie as I must have looked watching it. The good news is that that's that for the worst, so things are looking up already. On the menu today for the remainder of the episode will be 2 film noirs and 3 animated movies that were screened while working on the Animation Sensations episode. Let's start with a crime drama thriller from the 50s. What a surprise, said absolutely no one who has ever seen an episode of Cinema Wellman before. Here we go, from the UK in 1955, postmark for Danger. You can just hear the ba-ba-ba. Approval is the rating, approved. 84 minutes. IMDb 6.4, directed by Guy Green. IMDb says, a woman's painted portrait and a postcard with a sketch of a woman's hand holding a Chianti bottle, are the main clues used by Scotland Yard to solve a string of murders connected to a diamond smuggling ring. If you're a regular here at Cinema Wellman, you may know that my favorite genre, hands down, is the mystery suspense thriller, especially the subgenre known as film noir. It's why TCM is always high on the list of movie sources at the end of the year, since I will watch pretty much any film noir that TCM adds to their list. And speaking of TCM, let's toast Ted Turner Past. Not a perfect human being by any stretch, but I thank him for what he did to preserve film, and he's the reason why I get to watch so many films on TCM. Cheers. And it's why you have the Cartoon Network. So, Postmark for Danger, also known as Portrait of Alison, is a British mystery noir that checks all the boxes and was shot on location in and around London. I loved how the investigators took these two seemingly unconnected artistic clues and put them together to solve the case, way before the days of CSI. And the movie begins with a car going off a cliff and exploding. Was Michael Bay making movies in 1955? Next up is a late 60s film noir, Marlowe, from 1969. Rated M, which is one of my favorites. 96 minutes, IMDb 6.4, directed by Paul Bogart. IMDb says a young woman from Kansas hires L.A. private detective Philip Marlowe to find her missing brother. More film noir to talk about before getting animated. Fictional L.A. private dick Philip Marlowe is no stranger to the movies. Marlowe has been played by Humphrey Bogart, Robert Montgomery, Elliot Gould, Robert Mitchum, James Caan, Liam Neeson, and in this film, James Garner. James Garner is the only reason I watched this, and I did that because my mother adored him, especially as Jim Rockford in TV's The Rockford Files. Little did I know how much I'd like this movie, and I was surprised at how very 40s noir-ish it is, even though it was made in 1969. That had me thinking of some of the better film noir movies made after the heyday of that genre in the 40s and 50s. Chinatown, Night Moves, Body Heat, Mulholland Falls, and the Coen brothers' phenomenal Blood Simple are all examples of exceptional film noir pieces that do the genre total justice, even though they come a little bit later. I watched Marlowe for Garner, but was delighted by so many aspects of this film. Carol O'Connor, William Daniels, and Jackie Coogan are in this movie. So, Archie Bunker, Mr. Feeney, and Uncle Fester are in this film. Bruce Lee is also in this film. It's only the second American film in which he was allowed to speak with his own voice, and the only film in which he plays a villain. When his character, gangster Winslow Wong, walks into Marlowe's office, my first thought was, wait, is that Bruce Lee? I hadn't looked up anything about the movie other than making sure that I hadn't seen it. So I didn't know anything about it. Winslow Wong then destroys Marlowe's office with a series of kicks and punches in his own rage room. Yeah, that was Bruce Lee. Marlowe also features an EGOT winner. Rita Moreno is one of only 21 entertainers who has won an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. And debate amongst yourselves which one you think is the most challenging, or which ones go together and you think, well, they're never going to get that one. And 21 entertainers have done it. That has to be an upcoming episode because there are so many people who are only one of those trophies away from joining that very elite group. Rita Moreno is terrific in this film, as she is in absolutely everything she's in. She's just an amazing performer who can do it all. Trivia that means a lot to me regarding this film, and probably no one else, maybe Andrew. Marlowe was the very last film broadcast on New York's WABC TV afternoon slot, the 4:30 movie, on November 26th, 1981. And I missed it because I was at BU. I loved everything about the 4:30 movie. That should be an episode as well. The three remaining films are all animated, and all were suggested by people I work with at the factory when I asked for input while preparing for our Animation Sensations episode. So thank you in advance to the three people that these are made. Okay, let's start. The Black Cauldron from 1985, rated PG, 80 minutes. IMDb 6.3, directed by Ted Berman. IMDb says, a young boy and a group of misfit friends embark on a quest to find a dark magic item of ultimate power before a diabolical tyrant can. As I mentioned during our Animation Sensations episode, I asked friends and family to chime in with their favorites, and when I saw The Black Cauldron on that list, I had to laugh. I always thought this movie was based on, or was, Dragon's Lair, that 80s cartoony video game that had, at the time, the best animated graphics. And while it does appear similar in appearance at times, I was very wrong. The Black Cauldron was the first Disney animated film that is not a musical, does not contain any songs in the background, or performed by characters. And they should have made more of these. There was a scene in this movie that needed to be removed after angry moms and crying kids left screenings in droves. What could cause that, you may ask? Well, good question. It seems that there was a sequence in which rotted corpses were shown slowly fermenting, complete with the flesh oozing and falling off the skeletons. What's wrong with that? Toughen up, snowflakes. The colors are so bold and vibrant, no surprise to learn that over 1,165 different hues and colors were used, along with over 400 gallons of paint. Chet and I, we said, how many colors and hues can you come up with? The two of us, what can we do? 1,165 used in this movie. What we come up with, Chet? 40? All right. Thank you to Anthony for putting this animated fantasy quest on the list. It was very un-Disney, and I like that. Next up, animation by Rankin and Bass. You know them. I know you do. From 1982, The Last Unicorn, rated G, 92 minutes, IMDb 7.3, directed by Arthur Rankin Jr. and Jules Bass. IMDb, a beautiful unicorn sets out to learn if she truly is the last of her kind in this sparkling animated musical. Rankin and Bass are responsible for all of the following: Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Little Drummer Boy, Frosty the Snowman, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, The Little Drummer Boy, and all sorts of sequels to all of those productions. Chances are some of those titles are in your holiday wheelhouse, and rightly so. And if you're a fan of any of those and you haven't seen The Last Unicorn, you'll need to fix that soon, because this film was an absolute treat. Mia Farrow voices the title character, and it's truly heartbreaking to see her character struggling with the thought that she may be the very last unicorn. Sir Christopher Lee voices King Haggard, and he showed up on set with his own copy of the source material, complete with notes and segments that he would not allow to be changed. Christopher Lee did the same thing on the sets of the Lord of the Rings films he appeared in, and I love that. Speaking of source material, Jeff Bridges, the voice of Prince Lear, did this film for free since it was one of his favorite books growing up. The evil Haggard creates a frightening, flaming red bull who rounds up all the unicorns and forces them into the sea to drown. This was a kid's book. I don't want to spoil anything else about this charming film other than I made a short video of myself sobbing when I realized what was happening at the end, and I only sent it to Hannah since it was so embarrassing. The animators for this 1982 film are predominantly Japanese, which is proof that Rankin and Bass knew what they were doing. They were ahead of their time. And the unicorn design from this movie was also used in the 80s cartoon Thundercats. Thundercats are a go. Thank you to Joe for bringing this delightful film to my attention. absolute. Oh, it was wonderful. I'm gonna watch it, and it was scary as well. One film remaining, and it's a Studio Ghibli film, so you know how I feel about it already. It's from Japan, from 1994, Pompoko. Rated PG, 119 minutes, IMDb 7.2, directed by Isao Takahata. IMDb, a community of magical shape-shifting raccoon dogs struggle to prevent their forest home from being destroyed by urban development. You had me at shape-shifting raccoon dogs. There aren't many films left on the Studio Ghibli yet to see list, and now Pompoko will join the always crowded list of Studio Ghibli films to rewatch. I am a fan of shapeshifters in movies, and it's a power I wish I actually had. These raccoon dogs are wonderful to watch as they go against developers who aim on deforesting their forest. So let's recap. Studio Ghibli? Check. Shape-shifting raccoon dogs? Check. A pro-environment, anti-development story? Check. Oh, and I forgot to mention the snarky narrator who is a treat? Check. As I often do here, I don't want to tell you too much more about this movie since I think you should definitely see it for yourself. Thank you to Tyler for suggesting this. And I thought when I saw him put it on the list, I thought to myself, I've seen this. And I needed to check the archives because I thought I had already seen it and I hadn't. The Cinema Wellman archives proving itself useful once again. Well, that's a wrap from here at Cinema Wellman and our recap of the best and worst of April. We hope you join us this Sunday for an episode I'm going to dedicate to my mom since it's Mother's Day. The episode is simply titled Gowns By, and we hope you'll join us for that. After you call your mom and tell her that you love her, of course. Okay? Until then, take care.